Very well. Okay. Stevie Ray Vaughan. Tell me about tell me about your new album. Well, your most recent album. What was conceptualized in it? Yeah.
We'd been wanting to do an album with the crowd for quite some time, because we basically cut live in the studio anyway. But we'd been wanting to pretty much actually bring the crowd in the studio. But we decided it might be easier to cut an album, go somewhere where the facilities are good enough to do an album at, where the crowd could already be. You know? And so we ended up using a videoed portion of the Montreux Jazz Festival in '75, and we did 2 shows in Austin that were ridiculous length. They were about 5-hour shows, 2 of them. And then we had 1 show in Dallas. That's all July's. July the 18th of '75 and July the 17th and 19th of '86.
So that's quite a compilation of pieces. It's really strange. The more I talk to your manager, the more information I'm getting fed about you. He enlightened me to the fact that you were the first white person to ever win the Blues Award. How did that come up? What did that do to you? I mean, that said what to you?
Well, of course it felt good, but the main thing is that the music is the music, you know. And just because I'm white, or just because we got to take the color out of the blues, you know. It's just that I like to do the best music that I can, and that's where my heart lies, is in the blues, rhythm and blues, and rock and roll.
It's strange. A lot of times people think that the blues is primarily a black art form, and as you said, we've got to take the color out.
Well, its roots are there, believe me.
But you've brought it to another level where it's a people music now.
Yeah.
It's not a color music. Your background, I mean, the blues initially was coming out of hard luck and bad times and just an overall depressed state. Your background, how much did that play in your going into the blues?
There was a lot of rough things going on, but hopefully I've grown past some of those things, you know, self-inflicted, a lot of it. Nowadays I'm drug-free, alcohol-free. For a long time, no, I wasn't. About 25 years. And just trying to work through some of those problems and grow from them, grow from those mistakes.
Were those dependencies, they say the music business fosters those things, were these inner turmoils with you, or was it part of the whole scheme of things?
Well, I wasn't on the road when it started, you know, obviously. I'm 32 now. Started 7 or 8 years old, you know. This business, the scheduling of it, can call for needed. Some people to at least think that they need artificial energy, or not thinking about something to sedate themselves. A lot of that comes with the image of rock and roll and playing music. Regardless of all that, it still ends up where it's not necessary. It really isn't.
Do you feel as though your music is better now than it was when you were under the influence?
Yeah, there was, you know, of course, for a long time I thought that was the solution. You know, I found it was a problem. You know, I think our music's a lot clearer now. I really do. I feel a lot better inside, I know that.
You've got quite a following of superstars and other musicians. How did you come to pick Stevie Wonder's Superstition?
I've always liked Stevie Wonder, and I've always liked his music. And it just ended up where that song, we were playing with it one day at sound check. None of us knew, I didn't know the words or anything. I just knew very superstitious, you know, I'd sing that over and over. And we just ended up trying it, and one of the stage crew had said if we do that, man, it'll be a hit, you know. And it felt real good, so we just worked on it, and come to find out we had approval from Stevie Wonder, you know, and that was quite a thrill. We did the mixing and the mastering at his studio at Wonderland.
Let's talk about your HBO special. That's another thing that's
That was
coming
a
up.
lot of fun, yeah.
Who's in it, and when might it air, and what can we expect from you in it?
Well, that was a wonderful day. It was a wonderful day. B.B. King, Albert King, Dr. John, the late Paul Butterfield, Eric Clapton, Phil Collins, Chaka Khan, Gladys Knight, Etta James, Billy Ocean, B.B.'s band. Sometimes all of us at once, sometimes not all of us at once. But God, it was a wonderful experience. It really was. The way it was set up was all the musicians and their equipment faced each other. So we actually played to each other. And the audience was there on the outside around the stage, the circular stage. And I don't know, I just had a blast being with all those people and doing my best with them. It comes out, I believe, in August. It'll be a hot one.
I can believe it. You've also got a movie that's happening, Back to the Beach. Why don't you tell me a little about that?
Well, I play myself playing me. You know, all I do is I'm in it playing Pipeline with Dick Dale, the guy who invented surf music. And he's gotten a little wilder and through the years. And I don't know, it was a lot of fun doing. It was a lot of fun doing. And it was, you know, it came about because of a guy, Frank Mancuso, the producer, had kept asking about me doing this. And up until that point, because of some problems from the past, I had a reputation for being kind of ornery, you know, and a little weird to work with in the studio because I like to do it all night long. And they have sessions during the day too.
Right.
So, but he kept insisting on contacting me about it, and thank God he did, because I got the chance to, you know, not only have fun doing it, but to show that I'd changed a lot of my ways.
You think you'd want to? Oh, that was more or less of a cameo role, let's say.
Yes.
You think you'd want to be an upfront actor? I mean, a lot of musicians make that transition.
That would be fun if I find that I'm capable of doing that.
Well, I mean, you obviously have the presence and the talent. So
Yeah.
I mean, what do you think?
I'd just have to see how it goes. I've never had any acting lessons or anything like that. You know, I don't know exactly how to go about it. You know, I might be convincing in some ways, but then that might be some ways.
Right. You were discovered by Mick Jagger and Keith Richards.
Well, actually, I was discovered by my mama.
By your mom. All right. And we're going to get to her, because I heard that she came to your aid too when you had a little fall off the stage, and she was right there with you through it. You know, that's what mom's all about. But they credit you as being probably one of the greatest guitarists of all times.
I keep trying to be. I don't know that I am. I just know that I do the best that I can.
The best that you can is absolutely phenomenal. I keep going back to that, but again, it's that sound check was awesome. All right. Let's talk about some of the bad times for just a quick minute. How long were you under the influence, and what exactly made you turn around?
Well, it was over a period of about 25 years that in one form or another I was, you know, drinking or using something. And it got to the point where finally I knew for quite a while that I had a problem with things like that, with drugs and alcohol. But it was also at the same, I knew that I had a problem, but I couldn't stop, and I knew that I couldn't stop. Every time that I had more pressure seemed to be a good excuse for more. And every time there was less pressure, it was party time. That's the disease telling you that you don't have it. You know, oh, sure, you can, come on, you can make it, you know. And what happened was I ended up finally, I saw it coming too. I knew it was coming. Finally, I had every kind of breakdown at once that I think a person could have. Physically, emotionally, spiritually, and the whole ball of wax melted. And I woke up on a bus. Well, I'd had a nervous breakdown and had to go to the hospital first. Got out of there, and we were in a German hospital, and these people, I don't know if it was common in Germany, or if it was just this particular hospital, they were butchers, you know, and didn't care what you said when they asked you questions, you know, and thank God I had my bass player, Tommy Shannon, and a few other people I knew with me to keep me from trying to jump up and run out, you know, because it didn't seem any safer there. That's why I went to the hospital. Then the next day, I woke up on a bus, crying, scared of everything, didn't know why. Didn't know what I was scared of, much less how to deal with it. And that went on for quite some time until it was just obvious that I could not keep going. And went and saw Dr. Victor Bloom in London. He put me in London Clinic, which is a private hospital. I did detox there. And we also checked out my stomach because I was having some struggle problems, possible ulcers, and it was just, come to find out, he said my stomach looked like a 65-year-old man. After I left that hospital, I was in London for 3 or 4 days, I guess, and came back to the States, went in and checked in immediately to a charter Peachford Hospital in Atlanta. Was there for about a month. And what that place did not only is a good place to be away from drugs. You know, you do clean out that way. But it not only got us dried out, all of the people that were in there and that have gone through them before, but it teaches you a set of tools. Well, if you just dry up, you might as well just, you know, all you're doing then is white knuckling it, and just, you know, on your own willpower, it's not going to work. You know, willpower has nothing to do with this. A lot of people think, "Why do I need to stop?" It's not that easy. It's actually a disease. Alcoholism and addiction is a disease, and it's a disease that it's the only disease that I know of that. Part of it is that the disease actually tells you don't have it. It's okay to have one, and one is the one that gets you messed up. All the rest of them don't matter. The first one starts. See, it's not only a mental obsession to use. It's also a physical craving that goes on. It's what it is that your body can no longer break down these things. Alcohol, it no longer breaks it down at the same rate that a normal drinker could. A normal drinker they drink 2 or 3 drinks and feel like they've had enough. What happens in my body, being an alcoholic, is that it doesn't break it down properly, so that the levels of acetone that your body breaks down the last stage don't get broken down, and it causes a craving for more, and of course that starts the obsession. And once you take another one, you have a higher level of acetone that causes a bigger craving. And for me, I was drinking, one drink for me was about 3 or 4 for most people, and if I had 2 or 3 drinks, I felt like I just had, you know, nothing. And it just made me want to start, you know. And it's not a good thing, you know. It's not a good thing to live that way, only on the wagon, because anything can tip you off. Anything can give you your mind a reason to think that it's, you know, I deserve a drink, or after that, who wouldn't want one, you know. And it's that first one. This set of tools help us to realize that we don't have a power over alcohol or drugs. We don't have the show, see, and what happens is these tools teach you how to realize that is the symptom. Actually, the drugs and alcohol are a symptom of the disease. The disease is actually problems that we had beforehand. That's why staying dry is not enough, because the problems that we were stuffing and ignoring are what gets us if we don't treat them.
Let's move on to a little brighter point. That's history. You're better. Like you said, it's behind you. You're appreciated around the world, from Montreux to Carnegie Hall. What do you think your overall appeal to the mass public is? That
I do the best I can to play what I really like, and it's honest.
What has inspired you through history? Who is your El Supremo?
My brother, Jimmy Vaughn, he's the reason I got started, and he's also the inspiration for a lot of musicians. And because of him, I was able to hear B.B. King, Freddie King, Albert Collins, Albert King, Lonnie Mack, Buddy Guy, Muddy Waters, Howlin' Wolf, Kenny Burrell, Jimmy Smith, on and on, on and on. And they're all very big influences.
Okay. I think we got to cut it short.